You know, in the silent, sunburnt landscapes of southern Italy, tucked away between ancient olive trees, there's a story that's literally rusting away in plain sight. And it's a story about ingenuity, about rhythm, and about a kind of wisdom that maybe, just maybe, we were a little too quick to forget. So let's dive in and see what it has to teach us.
So if you travel through Puglia, you'll see them. They're just dotting the landscape, looking like these quiet iron skeletons. They're like silent sentinels, just remnants of a whole other era. I mean, for decades, these things were the absolute heart of this land. But now, well, now they just stand abandoned.
So what are these things anyway? They're called Norias, and their story is honestly a fascinating lesson. It's about the relationship between technology, nature, and time itself. It's a story about what we gain and maybe what we lose in that relentless chase for progress. Okay, so to really understand the Apulian Noria, we have to go back in time. And I mean way back, and far away from Italy. See, this wasn't some local invention. It was this ancient piece of wisdom that just found a new and absolutely perfect home on the Mediterranean coast. The scale of time here is it's incredible. Think about it. The basic idea is 4,000 years old, starting in Mesopotamia. It then travels across the Islamic world and finally gets to Puglia around the 9th century. But its real golden age here, that was much more recent. And then, after all those centuries, poof, it practically vanishes. How on earth does that happen? Well, we're going to get to that. For a long, long time, the Noria wasn't just a machine. Not at all. It was the steady, creaking heartbeat of the Apulian farm. It literally set the pace of life and created this amazing harmony between people, animals, and the very ground they worked. And how it worked is pure genius in its simplicity. It's a system of total equilibrium. An animal walks, gears turn, and a wheel brings life-giving water up from the invisible world underground to the visible world up top. There's no force here, no aggression, just the slow, hypnotic, continuous motion. This picture, it just perfectly captures that partnership at the core of it all. The animal, usually blindfolded to keep it from getting dizzy, becomes part of the machine. It's a pre-industrial engine, right? But it's not powered by fuel. It's powered by a living creature, all part of this sustainable loop of energy and work. So, why was this slow pace so incredibly important in a place like coastal Puglia? Well, it's because the farmers were tapping into something called a coastal aquifer. And that is an incredibly fragile resource. You've got this thin lens of fresh water that is literally floating on top of salty seawater. If you draw that water up too fast, you risk pulling up the salt, which would poison the well and the land for good. The Noria's gentle rhythm was just perfectly suited to protect this delicate balance. And that gentle irrigation didn't just provide water, it shaped the region's entire agricultural identity. Famous local varieties like the Polignano carrot or the Mola tomato, they thrive specifically because of this slow, careful way of watering. The machine was literally cultivating biodiversity. But you knew this was coming, right? This centuries-old rhythm was about to come to a very abrupt, screeching halt. A new sound was coming to the countryside, and it was the roar of an engine. And just like that, the whole scene changes. On the left, you've got a working system, a partnership in motion. And on the right, it's ghost. The living, breathing heart of the farm becomes a piece of agricultural archaeology, almost overnight. The contrast is it's stark. The Noria was cooperative. The motor pump was aggressive. The Noria was sustainable. The pump was invasive. Sure, it offered speed and efficiency, but it came with a huge hidden risk, the very real danger of salinization, the exact thing farmers had so carefully avoided for generations. And what's truly staggering is the speed of this change. I mean, after thousands of years of development and centuries of use in Puglia, the Noria was basically made obsolete in about 2 decades. From the 1950s to the 1970s, they just stopped. But that is not the end of the story. Because after being forgotten, the Noria started a second life. It transformed from what was basically a useless piece of scrap iron into this powerful symbol of identity and heritage. In towns all across Puglia, communities began restoring these old machines, and the dedications they put on them, wow, they say it all. They aren't monuments to a technology, they're monuments to the people who used it, to their labor, their patience, and their connection to the land. It's funny, right? What was once just common, everyday infrastructure so common it was probably invisible to the people who used it every day, is now proudly displayed as a piece of history. It's a treasure, something to be preserved and explained. And it's being put to work again, just not to draw water, but to tell a story. It's being used on educational farms to teach kids about sustainable water use. It's a centerpiece of cultural tourism, connecting visitors to the real history of the landscape. The Noria is no longer a machine. It's a narrative device.
So, after this whole journey, from ancient Mesopotamia to a modern-day museum piece, what's the ultimate lesson of this turning wheel?
I think it's this. We often see progress as this straight line, always moving forward. But the Noria shows us that in our rush for speed and for efficiency, sometimes we can trample over a deep, time-tested wisdom without even realizing it.
This is the question the Noria asks all of us today. What did we gain and what did we lose when we replaced balance with speed? We gained productivity, yeah. We gained comfort. But did we lose a sense of balance? Did we lose respect for natural limits? Did we trade a sustainable rhythm for a fragile, aggressive speed?
And so, as these wheels stand silent in the fields, they serve as this really powerful reminder. It's a lesson carved in stone and rusted iron, just waiting for us to listen. The Noria may have stopped turning, but believe me, its story still moves.